What's going on, guys? John Elder here from Codemy.com, and in this video, we're going to create a profile page for our blog with Django and Python. Alright guys, like I said, in this video, we're going to create a profile page for our blog. But before we get started, if you like this video, want to see more like it, be sure to smash the like button below, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and check out Codemy.com where I have dozens of courses with hundreds of videos that teach you to code. Use coupon code YouTube1 to get $30 off membership. That's all my courses, videos, and books for a one-time fee at just $49, which is insanely cheap. Okay, so in the last video, we set up our little user profile that we set up the model for a couple of videos ago to show up on underneath every blog post. So when a user makes a blog post, their little profile snippet thing with their picture will show up at the bottom of that blog post. But now we want to create an actual page. So like, if we clicked on John Elder, if we clicked on this picture or something, it went to that user's actual profile page and had all this information in maybe a nicer format. Now, we're not going to do a whole lot of formatting on that page right now. We're just going to build the thing out in this video. So let's head back over to our code. And this is going to take a little bit of tricky work, but it's not too bad. So let's head over to, let's close out some of these. Now let's go to our members directory and our urls.py file. And remember, this is the urls.py file for our user authentication stuff, right? So registering, signing in, signing out, editing our profile, and things like that, messing with the password. And when we click on one of these things, we head back over here, it usually goes to, for instance, edit profile. It goes to this members, /members directory in our URLs. And I think if we're going to create a profile page for each user, for each member, it should kind of stick in the members. It should have a members thing in front of it. So it'd be like members for their user, ID / profile page or whatever. So because of that, I'm going to put it in our urls.py file in our members directory. Now this could really go anywhere. It really doesn't matter at all. But I don't know. I just kind of think I want to put it there. So we're going to put it there. And since we're going to put it there, let's go ahead and create the view in this same members directory as well. So let's knock that out real quick. So let's just come up here, and this is going to be a class. And what do we want to call this? Let's call this show profile page view, because all of these are sort of ending in view, right? Now, what do we want to pass in? Well, whenever we look up like a blog post, that specific blog post page is a detail view. And this is sort of the same thing. We've got a bunch of users. We want to look up a specific user. So we'll put this in a detail view. So let's go detail view. Now, I'm not sure if we've actually used detail views in this view yet. No, it doesn't look like it. So let's just go from Django.views.generic, import that detail view. Okay, so inside of here, we want to do what we usually do. We set the model. Now we're going to be pulling our user profile information, so we need to use our profile model, right? And let's go template _name. And let's set this equal to registration / what? User _profile.html. I think that looks good. So let's go ahead and really quickly create this user profile page. So we want to go into our templates in this members directory and then into our registration. And then let's create a new file and let's go files, save as, and let's save it as user profile. And I'm just going to come up to our, let's see, the blog directory and any of these other templates. And for instance, I don't know, let's just say the home page. And let's just copy this whole thing and just paste it in here. Now we don't need all of this stuff on the inside here. And here, let's put user profile, ... Okay, and let's just save it like this for now. So, okay, let's head back over to our view. Now, in order to do this, we need to do some weird stuff. Every time a user goes to a profile page, we need to look up that user's profile. Right? And in order to know what user to look up, we're going to need to pass our view their ID number, right? So where do we get the ID number? Well, we're going to get that from the URL in much the same way we've done it in other URLs. So we can come back here. Well, let's go back to the blog directory and look at that urls.py file. Remember, in the past we've passed this int pk thing, and this is the primary key or the ID of a thing. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to pass this int pk into our path in our new URL that we're about to create. So let's just create that URL real quick. So let's see, let's close this out. We want to be in our members directory, and this urls.py file, and make sure there's a comma at the end of your last one, and let's create a new path. And like I said, we're going to pass in int pk, so it's the number, so it'll be our www.whatever/members/4, whatever this pk is, slash, let's just say profile, right? And then we want to pass in that view we created, so we called it show profile page view, right? So show profile page view dot as underscore view, that's a function, and let's give this a name equals, and we could call this anything. Let's just call it show profile page. And let's give this a comma. Okay, so now to use this show profile page view, we have to import it here, just like we've done up here for other ones. So let's import that there. Okay, that looks good. So now we need to be able to get this int pk thing in our view. And we've done this in the past with other views. So let's head back over to the blog directory and look at that views.py file. And we want to just kind of come down here and look, and let's see. We want to come to one that we're grabbing context data. And this is one right here. Basically, we just need to copy this. I'm going to copy it from my home view. And this allows us to grab the context data that we pass in either through this view or through the URL as an ID number. Whatever these args and quargs are, we can grab it using this little snippet of code. So let's copy this. And let's head back over to our views.py file in our members directory. And in our show profile page view that we're working on, tab over, and let's just paste this all in. Now, we need to make some changes, obviously. First, we are not using the category model. We're using profile model, right? So we want to call all the profile objects from the database. And what do we want to save this as? Let's save this as users instead of cat menu. Right? Now, context is the context variable that we're going to pass in, just like a functional-based view, even though this is a class-based view. So we set super, instead of home view, we want to pass in whatever class this is. So let's just copy and paste that. And then the rest of this is the same, self, get context data. We want our args and quargs. Okay, and then, we probably don't need to grab everything from the database, right? So instead of grabbing everything, let's just grab a specific user. Let's call it the page user. So whatever profile page we're on, that user, the page user. Just call it that. Call it anything you want. And we want to get object or 404. And I think we've played with this before. And then we want to call the profile model. And we want to look up an ID of self.quargs. And then we want to pass in our primary key. And this primary key we're getting from self.quargs, which is getting passed in through the URL. So this will make sense when we actually look at this. So, okay. So now we've got this get object or 404 thing. We need to import this up here at the top. And that's in, let's see, that's in Django shortcuts. So we already have render. We can just pass in get object or 404 there. So, okay, that should work. Okay, so now we've got our user in page user. We need to now pass that into the page itself through the context variable. So we can just, instead of calling cat menu, we were doing the category menu with this earlier, we pass page view and then set it equal to page user, right? Okay, so this will just pass just the user itself. Now, we're using the model profile, and I don't think we've actually imported that up here yet in this specific views.py file. No, doesn't look like it. So let's import that real quick. So we want to go from blog.models, import profile. And in the past, we've done things like from.models, import profile, right? That's the normal convention. But see, in this specific directory, in our members directory, in our models.py file, our .models, there isn't anything, right? This profile model is in our, let's see, it's in our the blog directory, in our the blog app, in that models.py file right here. See, here's our profile model right there. So in order to reference that, we call .blog.models because, oh wait, the blog, there we go. Because this directory is the blog. So we're calling the blog.models. Okay, makes sense? Okay, so let's look through here. This is looking pretty good. We've got our page user. We can pass in our page user. Now we can reference it by referencing this context variable on the page. So let's copy this and head over to our user profile. And up here, well, just for right now, let's just output this to the screen just to see what's going on here, right? So, okay, we can save this. Now, in order to find these profile pages, we need a link to them from any user's profile. So let's head back over to the blog directory and let's see our article detail page. Remember, this is the page that has the blog articles themselves, the actual blog entries. And at the bottom of these, as we worked on in the last video, we've got our author bio and all that good stuff. So if we head back over to the website and look, let's just pull up one of these. This is down here. Maybe we want to make this image clickable, or maybe we want to put a link here. So instead of the website, we want to put profile page, a link to that first. So let's just do that. That'd probably be easy. So let's head back to our code and let's look at these are the actual links, right? So let's add a little pipe to this one right there. And above this, let's create a link. So ahref equals, and let's call this profile page. And inside of here, and let's also put a little pipe after it. And inside of here, we can create a Django URL tag. And where do we want to put this? We want to point this to, well, let's head back over to our members directory in our urls.py file. And here's the URL we created. And what did we call it? We called it show profile page. So let's head back over here and we want to point that to show profile page. But we also need to tell it which profile to look up, right? So that is going to be post.author.profile.id. And we can just pass it in like that. So post author profile ID. Why? Because on this page, we're calling things from post, author, profile, and then stuff. So the website URL, the Facebook URL, the image, whatever, the first name, the last name. In here, we want the ID. So, okay, that should work. Let's go ahead and save this. Now, down here, we have profile page, and we've got an extra bar. So let's take that one off really quickly. So after profile page, we can just take that. Okay, and actually, this bar, we want to put outside of the ahref tag, so it's not a link. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this and take a look. Okay, so that looks better. So now profile page, and when we hover, we see it's down here in the bottom left, it's pointing to members/1/profile. And when we click this, it goes to that user profile and it says admin, right? Okay, so the page itself is set up. Now, does this work even when we're logged out? So I'm gonna open in a new tab. So now we're logged out. Now if we come back here and hit reload, this still works, even though we're not logged in. So that's good. We want that. So, okay. Now we want to just sort of mess with this page itself. So for now, I'm just going to copy this thing here and output it on this page just so we can see how to grab the information. And then later on, maybe we'll make it look nicer, like a real profile page. But for now, we're just going to kind of copy and paste that stuff. So let's head back over to our code and let's head over to our article detail page and let's just grab all of that stuff at the bottom. So let's see, profile picture. All right, so I think it starts right here. I'm just gonna copy all of this stuff, bring it over to our user profile, and underneath our page user, let's just paste this in. Now, first things first, whenever the user doesn't have a profile picture, remember from our last video, we're putting up that generic profile picture. Let's see, right here, and it's using our static directory. So we need to use our static file. So if we go to our article details page, again, at the top, we can just copy this load static tag, bring it back over to our user profile page and paste that in. Okay, so now in order to call all the different things, right, we're getting all of our user information from our page user context variable. We're not getting it from post.author.profile. So we need to come through here and change all of the instances of this to this. So we could just come through here, if post author profile, we just change it to page underscore user dot profile pic. And same thing here. And this one looks fine. And it's a little different here for the first name and the last name, because remember, our first name and our last name are part of our original user model. They're not part of our profile model, right? So we need to designate this as page user dot user dot first name and page user dot last name. So that's, I think, the only instance of that here. The rest of these will just change by changing this. Well, actually, this is the link to the profile page itself, so we don't need that. And let's get rid of this bar here. Okay, so post author profile, boom, change that. Post author profile, boom, change that. And bear with me, this will just take a second to go through all of these and change them. Post author profile, post author profile, post author profile, and post author. Every once in a while we have to do tedious stuff like this, but it's not too bad. Should only take a minute. So almost done. Post user profile. And then down here for the bio, we've got that as well. So, okay, let's go ahead and save this, head back over to our site, reload, and boom, now it works. And remember, and you see up here it says admin. We can get rid of that. We just put that right here. So get rid of that, save it, hit reload, and you'll notice I've logged out. So we're not even logged in, and this is showing up. Actually, let's put some line breaks. We're not animals. Let's put a line break there. All right, pops that down a little bit. So, okay, now obviously this is not great because this is just basically what we have here. We've just put it right here. So you can go through here and style this any way you want. You can expand your profile model to make a longer bio section if you want. You can add anything you want and it will now show up here. Now we're not even logged in and yet this is still working. So let's log in and let's log in as Bob. Remember our user Bob. And now if we find, let's see, a Bob post, here's Bob, here's a link to Bob's profile page. And this is Bob's bio. Bob doesn't have a picture, but his thing shows up. And you can see members /2/profile. 2 is apparently Bob, right? Now, we're logged in as Bob, but we can still go to John Elder's profile and it still works. So that is a quick and dirty way to create a user profile page. And again, we look through our view that we created. Actually, we can get rid of this users. We don't have to grab all of the information out of the database here. I just copied this from the last time we did it. We just want to grab specific ID of a specific person that gets passed in from the URL. So we save this and head back and hit reload. Boom, it still works. And we can go forward, or we can go back to Bob's and his still works too. So like I said, just a matter of passing the context dictionary with the ID that we get from the URL that right here, this one gets passed to our class through the context dictionary, through the args and quargs here. We can then take that after setting up our context dictionary or our context, variables. We can grab the profile model, look it up by that ID, that PK, that primary key. PK, ID, they're almost always the same thing with Django and many database things as well. And we can pass that as page user, get all that information from the database, pass it in our context dictionary right here, return context to the page itself, and then on the page itself, we can call page user dot whatever, all of the things that are in the model, the profile picture, the user first name, user last name, the, all the website URLs, the Facebook URLs, Twitter, all the URLs, all the things that we put in our model, and that just works. So that's all for this video. If you liked it, be sure to smash the like button below, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and check out Codemy.com where you can use coupon code YouTube1 to get $30 off membership. You pay just $49 to access all my courses, over 45 courses, hundreds of videos, and the PDFs of all my best-selling coding books. Join over 100,000 students learning to code just like you. My name is John Elder from Codemy.com, and I'll see you in the next video.